Hi ladies, Shannon here. I am so excited to show you how to get started with Seint Beauty. So if you're watching this video, it probably means that you have either been color matched or maybe your order has already arrived in the mail. So I'm going to start by showing you how I build my compact. So I have here a palette 18, which means that there is space for 9 full-size tins on the top. And then I already have some of my bottom filled in. So I'm going to show you how I build the top of my palette. So just for the ease of use, I like to order mine left to right, top to bottom, based on how I use them. So I'm going to start with my contour color. So when you receive your product, it's going to come in a little tin just like this. You're going to slide the lid off. If you have difficulty, sometimes they get a little bit stuck. You can make a tape loop and stick it there and use it to pull. So I'm going to pull the lid off. This is my contour Astoria, and so I'm going to put that in this first slot, just like that. I like to start with my contour, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. The next thing that I like to do is grab my main highlight. So I've got one here. I'm going to slip that in right underneath. And then I have a brightening highlight, which I'm going to pop in as well, kind of looking like that. So contour, main, brightener, and you can see they're getting lighter. That's how it should be. And then I am going to slip in a secondary contour. Now, you don't have to have 2 contours. I do because this one is called Stone, and you can see, look at all the marks in it. That's because it is my favorite for my brows. So I use Astoria here, in the normal contour places, but I like to fill in my brows with Stone. If you find that your main contour isn't quite the perfect fit for your brows, it's super easy to just grab a secondary contour. It's going to last you forever because all you're doing is filling your brows. Okay, next I'm going to put in some lip and cheeks, and I'm actually going to put 2 in because I love them. So I've got Hollywood. You can see that that is well loved. And then I'm also going to add in Dahlia. Now Dahlia looks super bright in the tin, and it is bright, but I love it for summer. It's a great summer option. Lastly, I'm gonna put in my illuminator, okay? Now you can see I still have space. So if you would like, you can certainly adjust your palette. I'm gonna show you how I do that. So I just slid that secondary contour over, and I'm actually gonna put in a second brightening shade. And the reason for that is that this one and this one can both brighten. They both work well on me. But as I get darker in the summer, this one gets a little bit too light. So in order to have my whole year-round palette all in one, I'm just gonna put in a second brightening shade. And then actually, because I still have one space left, I'm gonna slide that lip and cheek over, and I'm gonna put in one more. I'm gonna put in a second main shade. So now what I have in my palette here is my year-round contour color. I have 2 shades that work as my main. I have 2 shades that work as my brightener. And what that does is just give me some flex, okay? Now, one thing that I don't have in here that I just realized I left out, I'm actually gonna pop one of these main shades out. Actually, no, I'll leave that. I'm gonna pop one of my lip and cheeks out. And if you have trouble getting it out, here's a little tip. You can take the tip of a tin lid, whoops, and it pops right out. I forgot my bronzer, and that's a must-have. So I'm actually gonna slip that in there. So now I have a full year's worth of shades and a bronzer and something to fill in my brows and a lip and cheek and an illuminator all on the first level. Amazing. In the second level, I like to put powders. It's pretty important to keep your creams and your powders separate if possible. When you use your powders, there's always that fine dust that breaks up, and you don't want to get it into your cream colors. Otherwise, you're going to be putting your main highlight in with shimmer and purple and who knows what else in it. So I have a variety of eyeshadows here. I have our Vanilla Dust setting powder. I have our brush cleaning tile, which is an easy way to just take your eyeshadow brush and clean it off just like that between colors. And then this one here is my brow wax. That one isn't a cream, it's a wax, so it's okay to put on this level. And there you go, I have my whole palette and I'm ready to get started. Okay, let's get started. So I'm using a detail brush. I always start with my contour. Remember, Seint is meant to be 1 layer makeup, which means you don't want to layer your colors if at all possible. So I'm going to contour under my cheekbones. You find your cheekbone and just put some contour right underneath it and around my hairline forehead and sides, and then along my jawline. If I turn my face to the side, you should basically see a 3 from the hairline, under the cheekbone, and jawline. Should make a 3 on the side of my face. Okay, now I am going to use 3 colors. Now, if you only have 2, that's totally okay. What I'm starting with is my brightening highlight. That's going to go right here under my tear trough, and then on the outer corner, of my eye. I'm doing a light application. You can't really tell, but the brush that I'm using is called the blend brush, and it's just picking up a little bit of the product between the nose, or between the brows, down the nose, on the cupid's bow, and center of my chin, basically in your T-zone. Now I'm going into a mid-tone shade, and that's basically going to go wherever I have a redness. If you only have a main highlight and a brightening highlight, that's totally okay. Where I add the mid-tone and the darker shade, you're going to put your main highlight. So the last 2 colors I used would be your main highlight. If you happen to have all 3, then you're going to use your mid-tone to spot conceal where you have redness or acne or scars, and then fill in. Again, this is 1 layer makeup, so I'm just dabbing it on where it needs to go, but I'm not layering one color on top of the other. Okay, my absolute favorite way to blend is with our blush and bronzer brush. Here I'm using the small end, but you can also use the large end. So the way that I like to blend is by starting with the highlight colors. Whether it's 2 or 3, I'm just going to gently blend them out. The idea is not to smear all the colors together, but rather to just blur the line. So I like to start with those highlights, and then I go back into where my contour was, and I blend that a little bit. Again, I'm just trying to blur the lines so that they aren't quite as pronounced. You can see that when you get this product on your face, it melts like butter. After blending, I've added a little bit of bronzer and some cheeks, and I'm good to go.